right. So this gentleman doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyways. So this is Justin Boyum. He's not only a veterepreneur, but he's a veteran who literally has been on this journey for several years of helping other veterans grow their own businesses in ways that, to be truth, is things you wouldn't even think about. Like, you're like, how? And he's like, listen, I've been down that rabbit hole. I've been there, and this is how I can help you grow your business. So you can go A in every step to Z, or you can Occam razor it, go straight from A to Z quickly. And so we brought you Justin. Justin's going to talk about some great discussion today with You Don't Need More Leads. Over to you, Justin.
Hey, thanks, Luke, for that introduction. And hey, everybody, super excited to be here. First of all, I would love to just engage with you guys. I want to put all my energy into this, so I want to ask you guys, like, who here is looking to build a business right now, or you're looking to achieve higher? Just put yes in the chat if that's you, right? Yeah, and awesome job, Sean, too. Some awesome stuff there as well. What I want to cover today is how to get buyers instead of leads using what I call force multipliers, which is a term that probably lots of us are familiar with, but I've been using it a little bit different way. And so you can grow a business, without ads or having to do complex technology, funnels, or chasing prospects, and which you should never do, by the way. Prospects are like deer. If you chase them, they just run away. And I want to also kind of share with you guys the 2-gap advantage that can make your business or your offer or your product irresistible, and why it takes less than 30 minutes a day to make it work. Now, I had some last minute updates, and so they're not in here, but I'll kind of adjust with that. Just a quick background on me. I've been in the entrepreneurship space since 2018, and aside from my first couple of years, I've been blessed enough to make over 6 figures in my business each and every year. Just those first couple of years stumped me. But back in 2020, during the fantastic COVID year, I had to make a change in my business and really get into this online space. And I ended up investing in a mastermind and learning how to run virtual events that can generate 50,000, 100,000, or even more in a day. And I was able to actually do some of those, and so much fun. But I always found there was these challenges that came with that. And so if we can go to the next slide, I want to kind of talk about, like, if you wanted to get into entrepreneurship, or if you are in entrepreneurship, you probably have these ideas here. So I had this goal, is I wanted to make $1 million in a year, right? Who here has a goal? Who would like to make $1 million in a year, right? That was my initial entrepreneurship goal, was to be able to generate that. And the challenge that I had, and as I was learning to try to bring people into a room so I could sell my products, was like, if I had a $1,000 product, that meant I needed to be able to make 1,000 sales, right? So even if I didn't want to try to bring everybody into one room, like 1,000 sales, imagine I was doing sales calls for all of those, and it just felt daunting. Has that ever happened to you? Like, you have this big, great idea, and then you get into the actual weeds of doing it, and it just feels like a lot of work? So put yes in the chat if that's ever been you. Like, that's how, like, this slide here even hurts my head, right? Just to look at the idea of how many people I'd have to work with to be able to make $1 million in my business, because there's lots of things I wanted to be able to go do, right? So let's go to the next slide, because I really wanted to kind of really crystallize this, because again, it's a lot of work. That's what it felt like, right? But there's a different dichotomy. Let's go to the next slide. There's kind of a difference. Is a lot of times people talk about, like, hey, you need to go get more prospects. You need to be a lead generator. And that's good. You have to have marketing. You have to have leads. It's the lifeblood of your business. You've got to have pipeline. But lead generation is just, it feels like a lot of work, and it's like something that you always have to be doing. And I still do recommend a way of that. But then what I found was better was actually to be a force multiplier, right? In order to run an event that became a 6-figure revenue day, I didn't have an audience. Nobody knew who I was, right? And so I had to lean into this other idea of force multiplication. And I'll kind of give you an example of this. Go to the next slide. If we can look at some businesses you may have heard of. Apple has 380 partnerships. Like, they don't have a ton of stores. Obviously, they have their online store, but if you've been to a store that sells Apple products, they have a bunch of retail partnerships, and that's how they move their products. The Girl Scouts don't have any storefronts. You can't just get Girl Scout cookies anywhere. What they do is they partner with stores. They go get in places that allow them to sell their stuff and borrow the traffic from another restaurant or like a Walmart or something like that, where they can go and sell their product. IBM or Microsoft, they partner with IBM, plus they have a bunch of other partnerships. Elvis Presley, guys, died in 1977, as we all know, historical record. He made the Elvis Presley estate generated $100 million in revenue in 2025. Right? It's because they have still a lot of partnerships and a lot of brand ambassadors that bring that in. And so I thought, well, I got to be able to do that. Like, if that's what the big dogs are doing, how can I do things like that? And that's where I decided, okay, this is what would be easier for me. This is something that's way more digestible. Let's go next slide, Luke. Is what if I could set up partnerships, and instead of trying to go that could each bring me 100 potential clients or 100 potential sales, by partnering with them, that felt way easier to me, because I could go find 10 people that I could go work with and that I could help solve problems with the same customer. Isn't that awesome, guys? Like, wouldn't that be better? Doesn't 10 sound easier than 1,000? But yes, in the chat if you'd like to be able to do something like that. Because let's go next slide here, because this is how, in practicality, what that looks like. Yeah, this is a thing that when I first started doing this, like, who would work with me? And I hear this all the time. Hey, nobody will, like, I'm a nobody, but I'm trust me, it's not that hard. Let's go next slide, Luke. Because here's what I do. It's like, we have two strategic gaps, right? I'm from Texas. I don't know where you guys are all from. I know we're all American here, so I love, like, American football, right? It's the NFL. I'm there, even though it's not what it used to be. And so there's this idea that the defensive line has, is that they have to go into certain gaps to go get the quarterback within the offensive line. Well, there's two strategic gaps that we can do if you think about the customer journey. Let's imagine that you wanted to partner with somebody who solves a particular problem. They are with the customer at that moment. What gaps can you fill that come either before your partner or after your partner works with them? Let me give you an example. Next slide, Luke. McDonald's. Everybody knows McDonald's. They're awesome. They've been crushing it, selling lots of hamburgers and fries. That's what they do, and they provide that experience. When they started it, they kind of went to market, and they were going to push a lot of product. Well, here's the challenge. They don't make the product themselves. They partner with Keystone Foods, who has the meat supply, to be able to give them, as part of the customer journey, that's what they need. Well, here's the other thing. Once you give somebody a burger and fries, it's very salty, right? Nice and greasy, they're going to get thirsty. So they partnered with Coca-Cola, said, hey, would you provide us your product, so that way our customers can quench their thirst, right? And we can all do this together and we make money. That's kind of the idea of this. Let me give you some examples, some practical examples for some things that you might be doing now. Let's go next slide, Luke. Yeah, so take a look at this, right? Let's say you are wanting to partner with let's say you're a YouTube influencer. Who comes before you? Well, YouTube influencers need to be able to attract attention. Maybe they aren't great at graphic design, so they can put awesome thumbnails, right? You might work with a graphic designer there. And then also, a lot of people who are YouTube influencers, they're really good at building audience, but they don't know how to monetize that. They don't know how to bring things to their audience that can help them, like with products and services, so that way they can set up brand affiliations, right? And they can use those. That's kind of part of the process. Like a real estate agent. Well, before someone can buy a house, they want to make sure it's good. So they can partner with a home inspector that can help them make sure that that's a good house to sell. And then afterwards, they want to protect that asset. Home insurance, right? These are very high level examples, right? An Airbnb, maybe your local barber, you can provide a gap for that Airbnb of sending traffic that way, right? Of people who can go and partner with you. And then also, like a home cleaner, right? Can be somebody who's after that customer journey to make it really good. Business consultant, they help people with their business. Well, before the business consultant, they might have somebody who's an accountant that is able to partner with them to be able to share business, because they're the people who are talking to the same customer. But also they can partner on the actor side with like enterprise clients, people who offer certain softwares or technologies that can help those businesses do really well, but the business consultant doesn't do himself. It's a synergistic relationship. And so there's lots of different ways, and there's so many things you can do. I'm in the online space. I can do virtual events. I'm in the marketing space. I know how to do sales. I have all kinds of different ways to do it. I can take little pieces of what I can do, and I can find which gap can I fill for any partner that I reach out to. And so it's tons and tons of fun. So just imagine, instead of prospecting, which is one of my least favorite terms because it just sounds like a lot of work, is what if I can go and do more traditional style networking, where I can reach out to people and say, hey, maybe there's a way that we can help each other. Is there a way that I can help you make more money? Is there a way that I can help your clients get a better experience with you? And which gap can I fill? That conversation is easy to start all the time. And so we'll go next slide, because the next thing that people are going to say is, I'm so busy, like I don't have time to go do all these different things. Well, the truth is, you can actually do it quite easily. Is you can automate that front end. If we go next slide, there's really 3 core things to do, certainly online, is like, do you have 10 minutes a day to look at the inbox, right? If we can automate the front end of those conversations, would you have 10 minutes to respond to people who said, yeah, that sounds cool, we do that together? Do you have 10 minutes to engage with people in whatever platform you're using to show people you know what you're talking about? And do you have 10 minutes to create some kind of content that allows people to build that know, like, and trust with you? If you did these things every day, this is what we do, and it brings in massive amounts of opportunities for you to be able to talk to the types of people you can partner with and borrow their audience to generate income for your business. If we go to the next slide really quickly. So recap, use force multipliers. Again, borrow that trust and audience, use the 2-gap advantage to be able to set up those partnerships, and then we automate and make it a 30 minutes a day workflow. I had a couple of screen grabs in here on the next one. They're links that I wanted to share with everybody. Yeah, these are some screen grabs. I know you might not be able to see it, but this is what it looks like when somebody comes in and they just start doing this. Within a week, if you focused on that 10 minutes a day on force multipliers or using other people's assets, you can start to see deals come through. Just last week, I had an opportunity with a friend, but somebody who I was in a program with years ago said that they were looking to do something different. We set up a joint relationship, and we were able to do an event so that he could offer new services to his clients, and it's a lot of fun. So I'd love to talk more about this. I wanted to go quickly because I know that we're at time here, Luke, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you're interested in learning more. See me at the breakouts if you'd like, and we can we can talk more about how that can work in your business. So, thank you, listening, everybody.
Justin, you did a great job. I appreciate it, folks. You can book with him here as well. Also, I want to mention something. The Veteran Coaching Network, the Business Navigators, the ecosystem that we have works with Justin. So he's not just saying what he says, he's actually doing it. And we're appreciative of him being a veteran in our ecosystem, and Vets Helping Vets. That's what we do. So I appreciate that. I'm going to skip ahead.